Hello everybody, my name is Joy and welcome to Paper Brexit, a game about Britain leaving the European Union. And if you've been following the news, then you know what happened in that voting. It's made by Greg Buchanan and the music is by Seb J.J. Peters, as you can read over there. And before I start, I just want to say that I don't know exactly how the developer is going to show his opinions in this game. I may or may not agree, I don't know yet. But I just want to say that I do not wish to express any political views of myself in this video, because I don't feel that at this moment I know enough about European law or about British law and about politics to form a well-grounded opinion. I just wanted to play this game because I thought it was a very interesting concept. I think it's great when indie games try to discuss certain topics, discuss recent topics, discuss controversial topics. So that's why I'm playing this. Now, without further ado, press this button to leave the European Union. The European Union. We have left. Paper Brexit. This game of mine, it's crude, divisive and mean. The facts within it, they're poorly researched fragments and in some cases outright fabrications. She had leant forward at this point to pick up her port. And if I've gotten things wrong, who cares? The British public certainly won't. Something an imaginary politician didn't say to you a few months before the British public voted to leave the EU, 42%. If they'd said something like that to you, drinking in the shadows of Parliament without much as an off the record, and you hadn't reported it, you wouldn't be a very ethical journalist. Would you be the kind of person who would sell their soul? You'd be the kind of person who did what they had to do. Oh my. Oh god, I have to choose? What? You would be the kind of person who would sell their soul. You'd be the kind of person who did what they had to do. Oh god, I don't even understand half of this question. God, okay. Because I am interested in politics. I am interested in law. I am I study social legal services. That's what I do. Oh my god. I guess I'd be the person who did what they had to do. You'd be the kind of person who did what they had to do. You're going to shadow me, Doris Thompson had said to you. And she meant it. She had gone from being an affable TV panelist to Prime Minister in the same span of time it took for you to fail at everything you have ever tried. The buffoon who bought the position of Prime Minister with the soul of Britain, assassinating the career of her predecessor in the process. You've done well out of this. One of your friends is going to have to leave the country. Oh my god. I don't know. Is this even a choice? I don't entirely think I'm getting what the developer is getting at. Oh my god. I don't understand what he means you've done well out of this. You've done well out of this, that the fact that I voted to leave in this game? One of your friends is going to have to leave the country. One of your friends is going to have to leave the country. You haven't returned his messages. You pack your bag for work and try to forget about it. After all, the Prime Minister trusts you, likes what you write. There's even talk of you quitting your newspaper job and coming to work for her directly. You can't think about that now, though. Big things are afoot. President Trump is to visit the newly independent United Kingdom in a few weeks, and a few choices remain about how the UK will handle going it alone. Okay, by the way, the previous statement I made about refugees, I do not want to express any political statement about that either. Try to see me as the most neutral person right now. That's not what I want this video to be about. I want it to be about this game. You catch the tube to Westminster. Okay, I don't have a choice in that. You catch the tube to Westminster. You arrive at the cafe, but your editor isn't there yet. The woman behind the counter looks at you. Her expression is tired. Tired. Coffee please, tea please. Do you have any lemonade? I'm a tea drinker. Tea please. With other words, she flicks a switch to the insanely complex-looking coffee machine to produce hot water, dunks a tea bag in it and hands it to you. You pay without complaint, but she would have asked you what kind of tea you wanted. She should have asked. You don't like it when things are different. You sit down with your drink, you look up at the television on the wall. Trump is speaking in a little soundbite on the BBC. I love the UK, I love it. There's great people there, wonderful people, a lot of investment I put into it, a lot. And they had the right idea, they closed the borders. Easier for them than me, they're an island. Kathy, okay. Trump grins. I'm going to have to build an actual wall. Wait for your editor to arrive. I have to say, I like how this is written. I like how clever the developer is writing this. You wait for your editor to arrive. In your dreams, you sometimes feel like you're back at school. Your wife has somehow cheated on you with a teacher who used to bully you and who told you you didn't deserve the marks you got, and that you're naked. You sometimes feel so ordinary in your fears without originality. Sometimes you're more afraid of people of other races than your own, even if they're not doing anything wrong, just standing there. Sometimes you quicken your pace, you wonder if anyone ever noticed. Your editor finally arrives around half an hour after he was supposed to be sweating. Oh my god! Can I scroll back up? Oh, I can. Sorry about that. Your editor finally arrives around half an hour after he was supposed to. He's sweating. He's always sweating. It often subsides when he's sat down for a bit. Having so much fat permanently hugging your vital organs is prone to heat up a man, but you find him unpleasant to sit with. He's kind, though, a rare quality in people you meet. The usual apologies flow back and forth, and then you get down to business. So today, I just wanted to go through a few things from your article. He smiles at you with his faint concerned expression. You don't know if it's pity you see, or if he's patronizing you. Just to check the facts, figure out the tone, etc. Alright, now I gotta scroll down. Is there a problem with the tone? Are you suggesting I've gotten the facts wrong? Sure, Harry, fire away. You know what? Sure, Harry, fire away. I mean, could be useful. He starts fumbling with his back to remove his papers, full of red ink and circles and inscrutable handwriting. You stopped using a paper a couple of years ago. As he looks through his papers, he takes off his glasses from his sweaty face and holds them in one hand like a writer might hold a cigarette. You sometimes wonder if your editor is a homosexual. Why that? Okay. You wonder if a lot of people are homosexuals. You have friends who are homosexuals. You just like to know where you stand with people. So they don't surprise you. It's perfectly normal to worry about it. So how have things been? I love you. You sit there in silence. Really? Why would I say that? Why? I love you. Why not? Let's spread a little love into this world. But of course you didn't say this. You wouldn't think something like this. He's your boss. For you, that's somewhere between being your mortal enemy and your father. You hardly know him as a person. Your head hurts in flesh and soul. You can't love him. He looks up from his papers after a while. Is everything okay? You're not saying much today. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just get these headaches. I was going to say that I love you. My friends, he's been messaging me about how he has to leave the UK. I was going to say that I love you. Again, you don't say this. You don't know why you keep thinking it. You don't know why you haven't killed yourself. If people have told you online, the democratic will of the British people. People have told you to online, sorry about that. You say nothing, and eventually your editor speaks again. Let's get this stuff over with, he says, with a strange sympathy. Then you can go home. He puts his glasses back on and picks up a sheet of paper with a very large amount of red ink. So, he says, talk to me. Talk me through the day of the vote. What you saw, what you thought. Things had gotten terrifying. It was a triumph. God, I don't know what his stance on this would be. Things have gotten terrifying. You stare at your empty cup. Your editor presses you. Why were things terrifying? The shootings, everything that was happening with ISIS. Not IS, ISIS. I'm not acknowledging that. That is one thing I am going to show my opinion about. I wanted just to leave the EU, but the lies both sides were telling. Oh, God. Well, we already know that. God, I'm trying so hard to remain neutral in this, but it's so difficult because it's actually rather personal. It's more personal than I expected it to be. I guess the shootings, everything that was happening with ISIS, not IS. The shootings, everything that was happening with ISIS, the editor stares at you. But you've often had violent thoughts, haven't you? I don't have violent thoughts. There are people who want us dead. I don't have violent thoughts. The editor pauses, thinking, and then looks back down at his papers, writing something down. What are you writing? He coughs and puts his pen down. Okay, the editor says, tell me about what happened after with the Prime Minister Blameroon. Blameroon? Well, I think he was on a pig farm at the time of the announcement. There's no such person called Blameroon. What are you talking about? I've never heard about that. I'm not sure if it's a play on words, like President Trump, but... Well, that was actually... I believe the name was changed over time, but I don't know too much about that. There's no such person called Blameroon. What are you talking about? The editor smiles briefly and looks down at the papers. If there's no such person called Blameroon, why did you write a whole section of your article on him? Who do you think the British people have been led by for the last few years? Wealth, power... Cameron. It's Cameron. Who the hell is Blameroon? Well, they have President Cameron. You try to say this, but you're unable to form the words. Your headache, it rips through everything that you are. The editor looks at you with concern. It's okay, you don't need to think about that now. Just tell me what happened to the poor fellow after the referendum as best as you can. There was a vote of no confidence. He resigned. He was pushed out. He resigned. I believe he resigned. God. Really hoping I get my news right. But I believe he resigned. And then, Doris Thompson... Your editor sips his drink. Your old friend, I think you said. I don't recall telling you that. Maybe I have in the past before these events happened, but I don't know that. Everyone knows, everyone knows. Don't worry. He grabs another piece of paper. So what... Sorry about that, my chair is malfunctioning. Everyone knows, don't worry. He grabs another piece of paper. So what happened to their Brexit promises? What happened to the NHS? They put 350 million into it, we became the envy of the world. Oh god, I know nothing about this. I mean, I know the terms and stuff, I've heard it on the news, but I do not know by far enough to give an opinion on this. They put 350 million into it. But they didn't. You don't want to say it. But you have to. My son died at an understaffed hospital. Oh my god. But you have to? Oh, he says the other thing. Your editor. No, Harry. His name is Harry. He has a name. Harry looks at you and asks if you're okay. Yes, of course, let's continue. Or no, I don't think that I'm okay. Let's continue. Might as well. Harry asks where you think you are. Britain? A cafe? I don't know, something's... Oh god, it's going to have some sort of big revelation. A cafe? Harry stares at you. You feel like your life was supposed to be a comedy. The world seems so utterly... It does kind of sound... The guy does kind of sound like a... psychologist more than a editor, I think. The whole thing, everything that's happening, you can't trust yourself. Something is very wrong. What's wrong, he asks you. I didn't think the UK was like this. That we were like this. Why does my head hurt so much? First one? Harry laughs. Like what? Oh god, you're giving me 3 options. Oh my god. Racist, ignorant, or cruel. I think neither of these, because it's a bit of a generalization, but... Ignorant? His face darkness. What was ignorant about it? The UK people didn't want to be ruled by French and Germans. They wanted to rule themselves, to be themselves without the infection of strangers. And after all, there were legitimate concerns over migrants. Even Labour said so. He pauses. So we exit the EU. We head out. What happens to all the foreigners who have been living here for years? The Vote Leave campaign said they had nothing to worry about. I think this game might have been intended as a... Alright, sorry for the interruption there, I am back. What I was about to say is that it reminds me a little bit of 1984 by George Orwell. Just a tiny bit, like, in the atmosphere. God, what was I? But the Vote Leave campaign wasn't a government, the editor stares at you. It's madness to think that they could possibly make any promises about what would or would not happen. No one was voting for them to take power. But they did. Thompson did. Yes, he says. Tell me about Doris Thompson. She was a member of the Coingdon Club at Oxford. She seemed harmless, funny even. She had these ridiculous haircuts. God, I don't know who that is. God, I would love to see this being played by somebody who is very savvy, who knows about politics, preferably someone British, because that really applies to them. This one seems neutral. Yes, her. Blame Maroon, the others. You went to Oxford too, didn't you? What was she like back then? You're still calling it Blame Roon. Sharp, calculating, I thought she'd go places. Funny, charming, pretty, affable. I don't want to talk about those days. How am I supposed to know that? Sharp, calculating, I thought she'd go places. Sure, why not? And she's now in number 10, with you as a go-to journalist. The editor finishes his drink. I'm surprised she hasn't offered you a job. I'd never leave the Bargrove Harry, you're like family. Well, offer me more money and I might stay. You say nothing. Offer me more money and I might stay. I mean, you know, if I can get a good job out of this. The editor displays mock offense. Well, I'll have to talk to the money people. I'll see what I can do, but really, I think you were in this for more than just financial reward. I know. You're like family, but it doesn't hurt to ask. As you say the word family, you feel a little sick. You notice the cafe television again. Strange how background noises often crystallizes into focus, reminding you of things you forgot were there. Of sounds you had assumed to be a general state of existence. It's the same clip from earlier, a lazy repeat from the BBC. Drumfish speaking. I love the UK, I love it. There's great people there, wonderful people, a lot of investment are put into it, a lot, and I think it would be great if they left the EU. Close up the borders. Close up those borders. Easier for them than me. They are an island, Kathy. Trump grins. I'm going to have to build an actual wall if I get elected. And what are we going to do? We're going to make Mexico pay for it. Yes, of course. You look around. Apart from your editor and the television, the cafe is utterly empty. It is nighttime. The world is sick and hollow. The man in front of you is one of many. He's a bacterium, a virus. It's not just found on one side or the other, but in everyone and everything. It is the madness of humanity. Who are you, or who am I? Oh god, we're getting into the existential part here. Who am I? I guess that would be more interested. You're a writer, a typist, Harry says, his expression strangely blank. And who are you? I'm your editor, of course. This is all a lie. I need to go. I got the feeling like this person is in a mental hospital or something like that. Or it's going to end up like a big revelation of it's not real, something like that. This is all a lie. I need to go. Let's keep in the crazy just a little bit longer. You might need to go, but that doesn't change anything. You won't actually go. He stares at you. This job is too important to you. You've lied, stolen, cheated to get it. I've only reported facts. I've just done my job. I sell an optional point of view. You cannot 100% report facts. I've just done my job. I sell an optional point of view. It comes down to a question, I suppose. What do you think the purpose of a politician is? To serve the people or to represent the people? Well, I'd say to represent the people. I mean, that was the initial idea. And what if people don't know what's best for them? What if they're confused, scared, afraid? Well, you still, as a politician, as somebody who's trying to represent, you still give them the choice. And You know, because that's the purpose of a politician, even though it might not be the best option sometimes. It's so hard to remain neutral in this. And what do you do then, if you know Brexit is a bad idea, but you feel you can personally profit? I sell my soul. There's no other option for me to pick. I write news stories backing it. Exactly. And it sells papers. People want to hear it. Who gives a fuck about the world? You've got a great job and everything's going great. But my son... Well, my son died, didn't he? But my wife... We don't know about his wife yet. What about his wife? But my wife, yes, your wife. Tell me about your wife. My son had gone to the hospital and she... What? The editor stares at you. I want to talk about something else. Please, Harry, just let me go. I want to talk about something else, because he's not gonna let me go. He just stares at you. I don't see what this has to do with anything. Please, just go. It was during spring. He says nothing. My son, he was always outspoken, unafraid. I loved him very much. There were some kids at school. They didn't like him. I hid him. He wasn't like them. He wasn't like me. He was different. He taught me something. Oh no. Oh. I got a feeling where this is going. I don't think it had anything to do with me. It had everything to do with me. I must have raised him wrong. Oh, yep. I don't think they meant it. I didn't mean it. He came back from school like that. I'd been drinking. It was just a little fight, but he hit his head. It was just a little fight, but he hit his head. My wife, she left me. She left and I was all alone. We had no money. Do you know what that's like? I should have had more money. It was easier to blame, to hate, to separate. Things have been tough, you know. The hospital, they couldn't do anything. I hid him. She lied about what happened. For me. For us. Things had been tough. I didn't even go with them to the hospital. I couldn't. I was too... When I woke up, I didn't even check my phone. I just started writing my story. I had a deadline. Your editor looks at you for a long time. And even outside, in the middle of Westminster, no one moves. The world is one of statues, of silent actors and still dances. He gathers his papers, writes even more things down on his note sheet, and then speaks. You have a choice, he says, but you already know you have a choice. You've had it for a long time. Considered all the arguments... Okay, hold on. You have a choice, he says, but you already know you have a choice. You've had it ready for a long time, considered all the arguments, analyzed the world, and even written this long document, staying awake all night on your old typewriter. She'd bought it for your son as a present. He liked things like these. Old things. The history of a country recaptured. An England of pubs and happy farmers and a world without pain. Or this real world, a world of complexity and fear and hope. You know you have a choice. You exit or you remain. Oh my. I remain. You look around the room for a long time. You'd used this as an office for the past few years, working from home alone, saying hi to your wife for the brief amount of time she'd permit, being bothered by your boy and the routine of the day. It was full of memories, but there was a disease. There was a separation. You try to go to sleep, but you can't. He's still here, watching you from the dark, even in your own home. You know in your broken heart that he is real. He's still judging you. He'll always be judging you. You know you deserve it. You sit in your room, in a lonely England, divorced from the world, from Scotland, from yourself. And you know that you did this. Oh my. The end. Oh my god, really? That's the end? Oh wow, okay. Oh god, how am I gonna recap my thoughts while remaining neutral? First thing I want to say, I love how this was written. I love the comparisons made. I love the hints they made. But I'm just going to refrain from recapping too much, I think, on this one. I want you to form your own opinion on this, because you're perhaps more educated. And if you're not educated on the subject, then I would suggest that if you're interested, don't just watch the news, go and try and go into history a little bit, try to figure out where exactly this is coming from. So I'm gonna leave it at this. Sorry for the bit of a sudden ending. Normally I like to tell my own opinion about it a little more, but I want to avoid that here, like I said. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna leave a link down in the description for you to play it if you're interested, and I hope to see you in the next video.